So as you guys saw in the last video, if you haven't watched it, I'll leave a link up in the corner for it. But we ran all of the wiring for the downstairs section of the house. So real quick, we are running all the wiring for the upstairs. The upstairs is just a bathroom, our master closet, and then a master bedroom area. And unlike the downstairs, we ran most of the outlet wiring through the walls here just because we don't have a crawl space below us. It's the first floor. So it's easier just to drill holes in those studs and run that wire there. After getting most of the wire run for the upstairs, we then put in the bathroom exhaust fan. This is going to exhaust the exact same way as the one downstairs did. It's going to go straight out the wall and exhaust outside. We also put up 2 can lights in the bathroom. One is going to be for where the toilet area is to make that a little lighter, and then the other one is directly over the center of the shower again. And then we added 2 lights in the closet as well. These are also going to be the recessed cans. After getting all the lights up and all the wire run to all of our fixtures and outlets, we then turned our attention to roughing in all of the outlets and switches, which basically means we're terminating all of the wires into themselves and leaving pigtails out so that when we go to attach switches and outlets to them, they're ready to go. So the way this works is we want about 6 inches sticking out of the box. So we're going to take our cutters here, cut off at 6 inches. Okay. So now we want to strip off, which is the hard part, leaving about 1 inch of sheathing in the box still. So we're stripping in the center where the ground is, that neutral, because that neutral is bare copper. So we'll strip all that off, cut that, we don't need it. So this one, the same thing. You don't have to cut very hard, you don't want to, so you don't score that sheathing. Okay, so then we can get rid of all this paper stuff. Same thing on this guy, get rid of all this paper, you don't need it. So this is an outlet. Outlets are easy, so our neutrals and our grounds are going to go together, right? The hots are going to go together and the grounds are going to go together. What we also need is about 6 inches of jumper cables. So then what we're going to be using is these little, I don't know, they're push to connect instead of wire nuts. So it should tell you how much to strip on there. So we're probably going to want to strip about 1/2 inch because it needs to seat all the way in there, but we don't want the sheathing exposed, right?
So we'll take a wire.
So those are all stripped. We will strip our jumpers.
We're not going to strip the side of the jumper.
Our ground is already stripped, so we don't have to strip that. We'll take our little quick connects. We'll start with the grounds. We'll push it in. It should push and seat all the way in there. You should be able to see the copper at the end, okay? So we're gonna bend these out of the way, and we're gonna roll this into the back of the box as far back as we can without bending the wire too bad. So now we have just our ground sticking out. The next one we're gonna do is the neutral. Take our little quick connect things again, connect these in, connect our jumper in. So now you see how it's sheathing, there's no bare copper sticking out, so there's no way for our ground or our hots to arc on each other. Same thing, we're gonna roll it back in there. So now we take one of our connectors again, shove it in there, shove the second one in there. Once again, none of our actual copper sticking out of this. All of them are in there. You can give them a little tug, make sure they don't come out. So now we have our hot, our neutral, and our ground ready for our outlets. Eventually we'll roll them back into the box as well, so that when drywall comes through and they puncture the inside of the box to figure out where the box is, they don't puncture or hit our wires. So all these outlets you see us wiring are for our kitchen. There is a way to wire a GFCI at the beginning of your kitchen or bathroom outlet circuit, and then just connect all of the other outlets after that to that GFCI. That way all those outlets are protected. However, the kitchen outlets are also on the same circuit as our living room outlets, so we don't want all of those GFI protected. So we're making it so that each GFI outlet will be its own GFI outlet, and they're not going to be daisy chained together. So this is our front door, but let's look at it real quick. So we have the light for our front door. We have from the panel to the bathroom, and then our three-way. So we're gonna need to connect these two hots together, have a hot jumper to this switch, and have a hot jumper to this three-way switch over here. Let's start with our from panel. So I'm gonna relabel everything as we go. Now this is from the panel, so on our hot, we're gonna put from panel. Okay, so that's our hot. So now, to the bathroom, we'll do this one next. And then this is three-way to the hall. So this is the three-way hall. So this is just the ground. So now do what we did before. Roll them around. This three-way goes to the hall. One of these will go to the hall. One of these will go to the outside light switch. So we have our grounds. Cool. Let's do the neutrals next. All the neutrals need to go together. Okay, so there's our neutrals. We're left with our 2 grounds, all the hots. So let's strip these. So this one from the panel hallway, this outside light hot is just gonna stay. These 2 will get connected together. That should get connected together with 2 jumpers. So what I'm kind of using too is this diagram in my fancy book. So you come out of power, so that's the neutral to the light. All those neutrals are going to get connected together, which they are. This goes to the first switch for the power, so we'll need a jumper to that first switch, and then black and red come out and go to the second switch. So I'm going to slide the labels over all of the wires so we know where those are supposed to go, and one of these goes to each one of those. Perfect. It's a lot of wires in that little box. Okay. This is our 3-way switch again, and I'm going to address it real quick before I get comments on it saying that I'm going to overload the 15 amp wire because I have this 20 amp, the 12 gauge wire connected to this 14 gauge wire. At the breaker panel, it is 14 gauge wire. So there is no chance of someone looking at the breaker panel and saying, oh, that's 12 gauge wire. Why don't we just put a 20 amp breaker on it because we need one now? And then having 14 gauge wire in the middle of that circuit somewhere that you can't see because it's in the wall. The 12 gauge wire will be in the middle of the circuit somewhere that you can't see because it's in the wall, and you'll only know that it's 14 gauge wire because when you go to the panel, it will be 14 gauge. There's no chance of someone messing up and putting a 20 amp breaker and burning out this wire. Just as an aside. This is the 3-way from upstairs. Put our label on it. And this goes to the lights. Okay, so this goes from the front door, so this is our power. This goes to the next place we need power. This is the light, and this is the fan. Light, fan, thermostat, which we don't have the wire for yet. So that's to the fan. And this is to the light. To fan, to light. So this is the most complicated box we have. We have power in coming from another switch box, and then we have power out that needs to go to another switch box. We have the 3-way switch wire running from the hall lights. Then we have the actual wire running to the hall lights. We also have a 3-way switch wire for the living room lights, and then we have a kitchen light switch that's not 3-way. That's all going to be in this box. So we're going to have a 3-way hall, 3-way living, and then kitchen lights. So those hall lights are on a completely different circuit than the power that's coming into this box. So I did those first, and then I went back and did all of the jumpers and grounds and connected everything for the kitchen lights and the living room 3-way. We don't have the kitchen wire that goes to the lights actually coming into the box yet because we have to get 2 more or 3 more 4-inch recessed can lights before we can do that. But I'll try to go into a little more depth in how we wired all of these switches when we're actually putting the switches on it, so hopefully it makes a little more sense. But for now, I hope this gives you a good rough idea of how we're wiring things together. Okay, so this is all we need for our hall 3-way lights. We go to the hall lights, we come from the other box, we have a ground. This is power that's going to go to our kitchen light. And this is from the living room 3-way. We have our traveler, our hot from the other one, and our ground, and our 3-way. The actual power from the lights hasn't come to the box yet. Worst nail ever. Cool. Get off! What the fuck happened?
Hi, baby. Watch out with the wires. What are you doing?
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any questions you have in the comments down below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel. I think the next video we're going to have is going over the layout of all of our light switches, outlets, and the recessed lights, which is the main thing I want to talk about. So stay tuned for that.